Okay, let's set this. July 13th, 2024. Butler Farm Showgrounds, Pennsylvania.
A pretty dramatic evening.
Absolutely. An assassination attempt on Donald Trump. A young shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, fires 8 rounds.
Yeah, Trump was grazed, but remarkably walked away.
And then, incredibly, goes on to win the 2024 election. It's just another chapter in this really unconventional story.
Especially when you think the family had basically zero political background before, 2015?
Exactly. So for you today, we're taking a deep dive. We want to get into the origins, the whole trajectory of the Trump family.
Where did they come from? How did the wealth get built?
And what really shaped this person who's become, well, arguably one of the most consequential presidents of the early 20th century.
And what's fascinating, I think, is that to really get the present, you've got to go back, like way back, generation. We're going to trace that journey from this little village in Germany right up to the heights of American power.
Looking for those pivotal.
Exactly. The key turns, the unexpected stuff that really define their rise. It offers, I think, some valuable insights into how these, dynasties get shaped.
It's quite a journey. Starts in Western Germany, right?
Yeah, the earliest ancestor we can really pin down is Johannes Trump, born 1789, Bornheim am.
And the name itself, Trump, originally.
Right. Trumft. Over time, it sort of softened, became Trump.
Okay, so fast forward a bit, we get to Frederick Trump, born Bavaria, 1869.
And his childhood, it wasn't easy. His father, Johannes Christian, died from emphysema, which meant young Frederick had to leave school early, go straight to work. That probably lit a fire under him. Ambition.
Definitely sounds like it. And then he makes...
Huge and significantly illegal. 1885, he's just 16.
16.
Yeah, emigrates to America. But he hadn't done his mandatory military service back in Bavaria.
Ooh, okay. Dodging the draft, essentially.
Pretty much. Shows an early willingness, let's say, to bend the rules for opportunity.
A recurring theme, maybe?
We'll see. So he lands in New York City first, stays with his sister, works as a barber skills he brought with him.
But he didn't just stay put on the East Coast like so many others.
He took a very different path. 1891, he heads out west, Seattle, Washington.
Chasing something bigger.
Seems like it. He got caught up in the whole Klondike and Yukon gold rush excitement around 1896 to 99.
Right.
And this is where his entrepreneurial side really kicks in. He's not digging for gold himself. He's running businesses, hospitality places.
Across the U.S. and Canada.
Yeah, British Columbia too. And there's this one detail, kind of memorable.
Oh, yeah.
This Hint restaurant apparently served horse meat to the prospect.
Horse meat. Wow. Talk about resourcefulness. Doing whatever it takes.
Exactly. Adaptable. So he makes some money out west, enough that in 1901, he decides to go back.
Back to Kallstadt, Germany, hometown.
Yeah, returns as a wealthy man, maybe planning to settle down, maybe make things right. He marries Elizabeth Christ in 1902.
But his past catches up.
It does. Here's where it gets really interesting. The Bavarian authorities hadn't forgotten about that skipped military.
Oh, they restarted the prosecution.
They did. And that forced him and Elizabeth, who was pregnant at the time, to leave permanently.
Back to New York.
Back to New York in 1902. And then again in 1905, they had to sort things out. And that's when he was officially stripped of his German citizenship.
So the door back to Germany was slammed shut.
Completely. The family's future was now, unequivocally American, whether they initially planned it that way or not.
And that sets the stage for the next generation.
Fred Trump. Born October 11th, 1905, in the Bronx.
And you'd say he's maybe the most consequential figure in the family's rise.
I think so, yeah. In terms of building the real wealth and eventually the fame that followed, the family moved to Queens soon after he was born.
But then tragedy strikes again.
Yeah, Frederick, the father, dies pretty young in 1918, likely from the Spanish flu pandemic that was raging.
Leaving young Fred without his father.
Right. So Fred gets into the construction game himself in the mid-1920s. Starts small, building homes in Queens.
Okay, following in his father's footsteps, sort of?
Kind of. But then, bam, the Wall Street crash, the Great Depression.
It hits him hard.
Very hard. Forces him to pivot completely. He actually ends up running a supermarket for several years.
A supermarket? Wow. That could have been it then.
Could have been. A biographer pointed this out. Fred Trump might have just stayed a supermarket owner, the family name unknown, if it wasn't for FDR.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
And his New Deal. Government intervention basically saved his construction career.
How so? What program?
Well, you had huge government subsidies coming through things like the National Housing Act, and the FHA, the Federal Housing Administration, was newly created.
Right, designed to boost the economy and make housing affordable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Fred was able to tap into that federal aid, re-enter construction mid-1930s, but now he's building hundreds, eventually thousands of homes.
With government back.
Substantial government back. And it's during this time, 1936, he marries Mary Ann MacLeod, an immigrant from Scotland.
And they have 5 children.
Including Donald John, born in 1946. And by all accounts, Fred was a very strict, work-obsessed father. Demand.
Okay, so the business is booming thanks to the New Deal. What about during the war?
World War II, he capitalized on that too. Got government contracts, building housing for military folks down in Norfolk, Virginia.
Ah, wartime construction.
But here's the key part. He was allowed to keep ownership of those properties.
So government contracts turned into long-term assets for him.
Clever.
Very clever. And that pattern continued after the war. Late 40s, 50s, more federal funding for veteran housing, New York, New Jersey, big developments.
He really mastered leveraging government programs.
Absolutely. He became known as the Henry Ford of middle-class housing in New York, building affordable homes, lots.
So by the 60s, he's seriously wealthy.
Oh, yeah. Owned thousands of units. Millions coming in each year from rent. A billionaire, basically, in today's money.
Built on hard work, sure, but also considerable help from the federal government. And it's worth noting, a cautious business sense, too. He avoided that risky Manhattan skyscraper game.
Smart move, probably saved him later.
Likely did. But building an empire is one thing. Passing it on is another.
Succession. Right. His plan was for the eldest son, Fred Jr. Fred.
That was the initial idea, yeah. But Freddie wasn't interested in real estate. His passion was flying.
Became an airline.
He did. But he also, tragically, struggled with a very serious alcohol problem.
Which wasn't helped by his relationship with his father.
Apparently quite strained, yeah. His father was reportedly very hard on him for not joining the family business. Freddie died young, just 42, in 1981.
So the focus shift to Donald.
Donald was then groomed for takeover, but he had a very different vision.
Not Queens and Brooklyn. He wanted Manhattan.
Exactly. Break into that glamorous high-stakes market, which was pretty run down in parts back then, actually.
And he had some early wins, right? Big ones.
Definitely. He got a massive $70 million loan in 78, crucially, guaranteed by Fred Sr. to redo the old Commodore Hotel.
Became the Grand, opened in 1980.
That's the one. Put him on the map. And then Trump Tower, finished in 83. Iconic.
Really established the brand.
Absolutely. But then Atlantic City.
Ah, a riskier venture.
Much. Mid-80s, he dives in. Trump Castle, Trump Taj Mahal, pouring hundreds of millions in.
Just as the economy started to tank.
Terrible timing. By 1990, he couldn't make the massive interest payments.
And here's where Fred Sr. stepped
in. In a pretty notorious way. Fred sent his lawyer down to the casino.
To what?
To buy casino chips. Almost $3.5 million.
Just as a way to inject cash.
Basically, yeah. A desperate move to give Donald liquidity bailout.
Did it work?
Not really. It wasn't enough. Donald still had to declare bankruptcy for 2 casinos, 91 and 92.
Wow. That pattern again. Big risk, disaster, father's help.
Seems to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Around this time, Fred Sr.'s health was failing, diagnosed with dementia.
And he passed away in 1999.
At 93. His death then sparked a big fight over
Donald got the biggest.
He did. Siblings Marianne and Robert got significant shares too. But Fred Jr.'s kids, Fred III and Mary, were largely cut out. A lot of bitterness.
And that inheritance, was it crucial for Donald?
Absolutely crucial. One analysis put it bluntly, Fred's death and the money Donald inherited basically kept him alive as a businessman at that, rescued again.
Even with that money and diversifying golf course, Turnberry, Mar-a-Lago, things were still shaky.
Yeah, through the 2000s, he still struggled financially. A lot of businesses lost money. Lawsuits piled up.
Trump University, that cost millions to settle.
Right. And Trump Entertainment Resorts went bankrupt again in 2009. His tax returns from that era often showed big loss, meaning he paid little or no income tax some year.
So what turned it around? How did he survive that?
This is where it gets really interesting. He's sheer talent for self-promotion, becoming a media star. That's what saved financially.
You mean The Apprentice?
Yeah. Exactly. Debuted 2004, NBC, massive hit, ran for 15 seasons.
15.
Made him an estimated $500 million. Appearance fees, royalties, he was co-produced.
Wow, that's serious money.
And it let him aggressively market the Trump brand through licensing deals.
Yeah.
Tens of millions more. He wasn't just a developer anymore. He was a household name, a brand.
And all this time, was politics on his mind? Or did that come later?
Oh, it was definitely simmering for decades. Wasn't sudden. He donated to politicians, both parties, since the late 70s.
Right.
Floated running for president back in 88, 2000, 2012. Switched parties a few times, Democrat, Reform, then finally Republican.
So the ambition was there for a long time.
Seemed so. Then came 2015. He announces he's running for the Republican nomination.
And nobody really took him seriously at first. Pollsters, pundits.
Mostly dismissed him, yeah.
Yeah.
But he tapped into something, won the nomination, and then the 2016 election.
Won the Electoral College, lost the popular vote, key Rust Belt.
And suddenly you have this political knob.
Yeah.
No government experience whatsoever.
Running the entire country. Unprecedented.
Truly. His first term, starting 2017, it reflected that uncertainty, maybe.
How so?
Well, initially, he staffed up with a lot of experienced people. Politicians, business leaders, diplomats, military figures.
Like Jim Mattis at Defense, Jeff Sessions as AG, John Kelly at Homeland Security.
Right. People with resumes. Seemed like a nod to needing institutional knowledge. Plus, Ivanka and Jared Kushner were key advisors, of course. Family trust.
And policy-wise, what were the big push?
Domestically, huge focus on immigration, the border wall push, big tax cuts, mainly for corporations, trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act, though that stalled.
Internationally,
A much tougher line on Iran pulling out of the nuclear deal. But also the Abraham Accords in 2020.
normalizing relations between Israel and some Muslim nations, that was seen as a significant...
It was a different approach to Middle East diplomacy. We also had the ongoing saga of uncorroborated accusations about Russian collusion.
leading to the first impeachment attempt in 2019, which failed.
All right. And lots of staff turnover throughout the term. Very high churn rate.
But the economy was doing well for a lot of that time.
It was, yeah. Good growth, 2-3%, high employment, stocks soaring, looked like a strong point for re-election. Until COVID-19 hit in spring 2020.
Yeah.
That just scuppered everything.
Massive disruption. Furloughs, huge government spending.
And tragically, over 1 million American deaths. Many argue the pandemic was the single biggest factor in his 2020 loss.
Right. The 2020 election, Joe Biden win, clear electoral college win, 7 million more popular votes.
Yep. And Trump's reaction, well, we all saw it. Claims of massive voter fraud, refusal to concede.
Leading up to January 6, 2021, the storming of the Capitol.
A really dark day. Resulted in death, deep division, and a second impeachment attempt by Congress.
Also failed.
But it underscored his willingness to challenge democratic norms when faced with defeat.
So fast forward again, he runs in 2020.
He does. Clears the Republican field, DeSantis and others. Even brings RFK Jr. into his orbit somehow.
And then that debate with Biden in June 20.
That was pivotal. Biden's performance raised serious questions about his cognitive state.
Leading the Democrats to replace him with Kamala Harris. An extraordinary move.
Unprecedented, really. Trump goes on to win the election in November 2024. And this time,
he wins the popular vote, too, for the first time.
Giving him a different kind of mandate than in 2016.
And his approach to governing, staffing in the second term, starting 2025, different from 2017.
Markedly different. This time, loyalty seemed to be the absolute number one qualification.
Over experience.
Often, yes. Appointing people, primarily because they were loyal to him, moved in his circle, like Pete Hegseth, the Fox News presenter, as Secretary of Defense.
Right. Limited senior military or big organizational experience there.
It signaled a real shift, consolidating power around a trusted inner circle, perhaps learning from the perceived disloyalty of the first term.
And policy, still focused on immigration and the economy.
Very much so. Especially his push for huge tariffs on almost everyone.
Taxes on imports, trying to protect U.S. industries, but risky.
Extremely risky, marks trade disputes, market volatility. We saw the stock market react negatively to some of the initial plans.
Like the Liberation Day tariffs, they got rolled back a bit.
Yeah, some adjustments had to be made. Shows that tension between bold pronouncements and economic reality. It's like applying high-stakes negotiation tactics to global trade.
And foreign policy, a big shift there, too.
Huge. A complete reorientation away from Europe towards the Indo-Pacific.
Why? Focus.
Explicitly, yes.
Yeah.
Concentrating American resources on what he sees as the rising threat from China.
And the consequence for Europe.
They're having to step up their own defense spend significantly.
He's also made some pretty bold claims. Greenland, Canada, Panama Canal.
Taking Greenland from Denmark, making Canada the 51st state, taking back control of the Panama Canal. Big headline-grabbing stuff. Whether feasible or not, it fits that larger-than-life persona.
But it's not all smooth sailing. Even with the popular vote win, Congress is pushing back.
Already, yes. Summer of 2025.
Yeah.
Republicans in Congress, his own party, are starting to defy him.
On what issues?
Things like his tax cut plans, the scope of the tariffs, his approach to the Russia-Ukraine war.
So potential for serious conflict there between the White House and Capitol Hill.
Looks like it could get hugely contentious. Governing is proving complex, even with allies nominally in control of Congress.
So let's try and wrap this up. It's just an incredible story, isn't it? The whole Trump family journey.
It really is unusual. Latecomers to America compared to some dynasties. Stop-start financial success.
Frederick finding fortune in the gold rush hustle.
Then Fred building that massive fortune, but heavily reliant on government programs, New Deal, wartime contracts, housing funds, real government largesse.
And then Donald, the constant pattern. Big risks, near ruin, rescued somehow.
Often by family money, yeah. Then these radical career shifts. Real estate mogul, media megastar.
And then president, twice, leaving this huge mark on American history. It's sheer resilience, if nothing else.
Ambition, too, and an incredible ability to pivot to reinvent. And, the story isn't over.
No. He's talked about trying to repeal the 22nd Amendment term limit.
He has. And there's the very real possibility of passing the Mangier baton to the next generation. Donald Jr., perhaps.
The family certainly has the wealth in profile now.
If you look at the big picture, their story is just this compelling case study. American ambition, resilience, yes, but also the unpredictable impact individual choices can have on a national, even global scale.
Definitely makes you think. So for you, our listener, as you digest all this, what do you make of it? This incredible, turbulent, high-impact journey?
Will the Trump influence continue for decades? A real dynasty in the making.
Or will it fade when Donald eventually leaves the main stage? It certainly pushes us to think critically, doesn't it? About power, about legacy, about how influence works in our time.